Hello, 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 beautiful people. How are you all doing on this amazing Tuesday? It's probably raining where you are, and if not, and if you want some rain, I'll send some your way because it's been raining here. Yana Kasperczak, your certified professional performance coach, who is also a spiritual awakening core energy coach, coming into you live from Ontario in Canada. And it has been my soul's purpose to help women, to help you to get your shit together so you can break free from the mental prison that you find yourself in and build a business and a life that you are not only proud of but excited to wake up to every single day and get the shit show on the road. Because some days it feels like it's a shit show, and let's get it on the road and let's just do it. So today's topic that I have for all of you is 10 mistakes of ignoring your inner voice on your spiritual journey. And I have made these mistakes myself. And these are the mistakes that I see each and every woman make that I have worked with, even the women that I have just talked with. These are normal. So, which means that if you recognize yourself in the midst of one of these mistakes or thereafter, my job here is to help you feel normal about it and feel like there's nothing wrong with you, that it's meant to be experienced in the way perhaps that you are experiencing it. So let's go right into these mistakes, and the stories, they come through as each and every mistake as well. Starting off with, when you ignore your inner voice, you will find yourself making these mistakes. And because each and every one of us has been conditioned in more ways than just one to ignore our inner voice, to ignore our gut feeling, to ignore our intuition. Gut feeling, intuition, they're not the same. The things that you feel in the gut is your spidey senses, which is not necessarily intuition. Intuition resides, and it is felt in each and every one of our bodies in a little bit of a different way. Some people feel it in their chest, some people feel it in their spleen, which could also feel like it's in the gut, because everything is connected to the gut. So you might notice a certain feeling or tingling or warmth in a certain part of your body, and then because you don't know, you haven't learned how to be in tune with your body, that it then goes into your stomach, and sometimes you can end up feeling anxious or stressed or overwhelmed as one side effect of ignoring your inner voice. So the first mistake that you will notice yourself experiencing is your loss of authenticity. When you ignore your inner voice and you lose touch with your true authentic self, which leads to feeling disconnected and feeling turmoil, where some people would describe it as a pending doom, feeling like that pending doom is coming, that something is about to happen. Not feeling comfortable and confident and showing up as they are, as who they are, feeling like they have to be someone for everyone in their life, and not saying what they want to say, but will say the things that they believe the other person wants to hear. And I myself have experienced that. And as I mentioned, I will most of these I will bring myself through, and not necessarily the experience of other women that I worked with. One day I might, but for now I'll keep it to just me. for the majority. Some of them I might bring someone else up. So I'll give you one example. A lot of these mistakes, or most mistakes that we make, we are not aware of making a mistake or living through a mistake. And also remind, a mistake is not a bad thing. And a mistake is an opportunity for you to grow and evolve. A mistake is what brings you closer to who you're meant to be and what you're meant to have. And there's no such thing as a mistake per se. It's just an experience that helps you to learn more of what you want or what you don't want. So I'll bring you back to when I was 22 years old, and my whole existence, the conditioning that I received, that you received, that your parents received, that my parents received, that so many of us received, if not the majority of us humans, is to be nice, be polite, don't make anyone feel uncomfortable, say less, say things that will help the other person feel better, don't poke the bear, and things in that spectrum. So when I was 22 years old and I was pregnant with our twins, I clearly remember going through and dealing with a lot internally, where just to kind of isolate everything to one experience, where I found myself not eating because I was just completely nauseous. And I was given these vitamins that were prescription, and instead of saying no, I said yes to them, and I would take them, and it would make me more sick. So instead of telling the doctor that they were making me more sick, I just stopped taking them, and then telling the doctor that I was still taking them. And whenever the doctor would ask any questions of discomforts or anything, I would always say the things that I believed she wanted to hear in a positive way, in a positive light, instead of speaking the truth and saying what was really bothering me, instead of, complaining, as I believe that's what I would have been doing. I would have been complaining, where in reality would not have been complaining. It was just would have been expressing what I was dealing with, what I was going through. So I kept things to myself, and I don't go into what ifs, what nots. I believe that everything happens for a reason, and the most painful experiences are the most powerful lessons that we all get to experience. So for me, that was one of the most powerful lessons. And of course, then in the end, when we lost them, I would blame myself, and I would shame myself, and it was all my fault. And those are the things I also was not expressing outwardly to anyone. Anytime anybody would talk to me, or I would talk to anyone about my experience with the pregnancy and then the loss, I would once again say everything to normalize it for everyone else, because I was putting everybody else's needs and wants before mine, and I was not living my life authentically in the way of how I do now, or versus how I do now, where if this was happening now, I would have taken a different approach. But what if this whole scenario, there's no positives in that for me. And I've played all these what if games, and I've learned that I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change one bit. I would keep everything the same, because if I changed even one slightest thing, I wouldn't be the same person as I am today, and I wouldn't have the kids that we have today. And I absolutely would not trade them for even a minute of a life with the twins, if that meant everything would be changed, because that's what it would mean. So the second mistake that you may experience when you ignore your inner voice, and that's the thing. My inner voice was telling me, tell the doctor, because she was also a new doctor, tell the doctor what you're really dealing with, what you're really feeling, what you're really going through, that you struggle to keep any food down at all, that it's just a small little bowl that I would eat. And then in order for me to keep it down, I need to go to sleep right away, which means at work, at lunch, I would eat that little bowl of borscht. I couldn't even cook in my house. I couldn't have any food in my house because the smell of food or coffee or any smells, and I would vomit and I would be sick. That at work I would eat that little bowl of borscht that my mom would make for me, and then right away I would go to sleep because that's the only way I could keep food down. And sometimes I still didn't, and I ended up losing 12 pounds while I was pregnant with a big massive belly. And yeah, as you can imagine, that's not a good or healthy scenario. But if I was authentic, if I spoke my truth, things would have been different. But like I said, I wouldn't change anything for the world. It's just sharing the story to remind each and every one of you that we've all experienced things in our past, and we can either beat ourselves up for it or whine or complain about them or dwell on them, and that too serves a massive purpose. It really does. And eventually we will get to a point in our life when we will actually do something about them, and our whole presence changes with that as well as we change. The second mistake is missed opportunities for growth, where your inner voice often guides you towards opportunities for personal and spiritual growth, and when you ignore it, it can and often does result in missed chances to evolve and expand your consciousness. And the reason why you're finding yourself ignoring those inner voices that are telling you this is an opportunity for growth is because on one level or another, you don't believe you are either worth it or ready for it. And that, or not right now, right? It's usually one of the blocks, the time block or the self-worth block, where it's that inner voice telling you, that inner critic, that imposter telling you that you don't deserve it, that you're not ready, and it ain't happening, right? Right, Kitty? She's like, yeah. Right. Cats don't have that kind of inner voice, do they? And if they did, they'd be living a life in a different way. So missed opportunities is the second one. The third one is unfulfilled purpose, where you know at your core that there is purpose to your life. You might not know exactly what it is, but you feel it in your core. You feel it maybe even in your entire body. And it feels like something is missing, that a part of you is missing. And that is unrecognized and unfulfilled purpose. Your inner voice often nudges you towards your life's purpose and towards your calling. See, a lot of people think that in order for you to find out what your purpose is, you need to make a call, that you need to find out what it is. But it's actually, the opposite is actually the truth, is that it is an answer, or you answering a call that helps you to identify what your purpose is. And you do so by listening to your inner voice, because it guides you to where you're supposed to be going, taking that path, saying yes to this thing, saying yes to that thing, saying no to this one, saying no to that, or saying yes to that. That is your inner voice. Yes or no, yes or no, yes or no. There's no maybes, right? It might be yes, but not yet, or no, never. Right? You're never really going to, at least not in my experience, where you're going to say no or not right now. It will be more so yes, but not yet, not right now. But if it's a no, it's a no. So as you follow your intuition, your inner voice, your inner compass that guides you towards your life purpose, and you answer the call, which means, let's say your friend invites you to go to a belly dancing class, And maybe you thought about it, because now that call comes to you, that opportunity comes to you, you say yes to it, you go to it, and then in that belly dancing class, you discover so much more, or you find opportunities, or you find the next step that you're going to take, or you discover more about yourself and your authenticity in the way of who you are and who you're meant to be and who you're not being, and you're resisting on being that person for whatever reason, and ignoring your inner voice and ignoring that call results in feelings of aimlessness, where you feel like you have no aim, you're not going anywhere in life, that you're just stagnant and in one place, or dissatisfaction with your life and your life path and your life journey, where you're just not feeling satisfied or fulfilled. But those of you who are either following or getting close to following your purpose or identifying your purpose, you feel that sense of fulfillment and joy and adventure and hopefulness, not hopelessness. So if you haven't found your purpose and you're still looking for it, keep looking. But it's not outside of you is where you find it. It's inside of you or where you find it, which is that inner voice that will tell you what you can do physically in the world. Go here, go there, say yes to this, say no to that. Get that dog, get that cat. You never know what that's going to be, right? Just continue to say yes to the things that you feel are for you and that you really want to say yes to, and those things that you don't want to say yes to, say no to it. And you don't have to explain. You don't have to get into the whole explanation as to why, because no is a complete sentence. And by you explaining, you're just trying to justify your no. But sometimes that no does not need any justification. It's just a no. And even if you try to explain to someone why your no is a no, many of them won't even get it. And some of them won't even care. And then while others, what they'll do is they will listen to your explanation and see how they can turn your no into a yes and still get what they want in the end. So, no means no. And if they're pushing, when do you draw that line where this is too many times you ask and you're pushing too much, that you just walk away from the conversation, or restate that boundary of, I already said no once, I said no twice, I'm not saying no the third time, because now you're being disrespectful. You're not understanding or even caring for my no. Sometimes it might need an explanation depending on the circumstances, while other times it does not need to be explained. Number 4, the fourth mistake, is increased stress and anxiety. Yes. You will find yourself feeling anxious. You will find yourself feeling stressed. You will find yourself feeling overwhelmed. You will find yourself feeling unworthy as well. Ignoring your inner voice can and usually does create inner conflict and tension within you and your body, which leads to increased stress, right? Tension, that is stress. And if you want to release that stress, you want to release that anxiety, sometimes tension works really well, which means if you find yourself feeling tense or tensing your body, you can tense your body on purpose and then just release and let go. Or do something a little bit different, where if you do catch yourself and recognize that you are right now tense, or you're clenching your jaw, or you find your face being just tight, or a certain part of the body feeling just tight and clenched or tense, release it right away. Breathe into it and remind yourself that everything is fine. Everything is fine and everything will be okay. Because if your past has taught you anything, is that no matter what happened in your past, that you got through it, you survived, and then you thrived. And that you learned so much from all of those experiences. And everything was okay. Or in many cases, it might have been even more than okay. Where something happened, and then what came out of that was something so amazing that you never even expected that was going to happen. So it leads to anxiety and stress as you resist the guidance that is trying to bring you to your right path and to your right direction. Because sometimes the reason why you might feel lost and confused is because you're just going in the wrong direction. And you can recognize, as I was saying earlier, when you are saying yes to the things that you don't want to say yes to, that is you moving away from the destination and direction that you're trying to go to. Not far away, but in a different direction. It's leading you, because it's leading you towards someone else or something else, and not necessarily you. The closer you get to you is by you saying yes to the things that you want to the experiences that you want to the relationships that you want to the habits that you want to the what else? To like the ideas that you want to the hobbies that you want to, and practicing those. Even saying yes to the cat that you want to. As this one keeps popping up and forcing me to pet her, and her hairiness is not my favorite. Let's just say that. Scottish fold cats have 2 coats, so they're double hairy. And they shed a lot. They really do. Okay, so number 5 is another mistake that women make of ignoring the inner voice on the spiritual journey or spiritual awakening journey, is because there is that cloudedness of the mind, the stress, the anxiety, not knowing who you are, which means what you want as well, not having that clarity, missing opportunities, blaming yourself, shaming yourself, not having that purpose. Of course, the following experience would be of poor decision making. Because when we are under stress, when we're anxious, when our mind is clouded, not just through experiences, but also through the foods that we eat as well, because what we put into our gut will determine how we feel, and most of the things that we do put into our gut tend to make us feel crappy. And quite often, actually, the foods that we eat can cause us anxiety and the feeling of overwhelm and the cloudiness of the mind, and everything that I've been talking about so far. It brings us into this fight or flight state. So even with the foods that you eat, if it's not good for your body will go into the state of fight or flight, and you can't make it's not that you can't make good decisions, it's that you tend to make poor decisions and take the easier path, because you are already going through so much physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, that it's practically impossible to take a harder path, because you're already dealing with so much and it feels so hard within you. So it is only normal to take an easier path and an easier route, at least for the time being, until you start working on yourself and identifying what you're going to be doing next time, today, tomorrow, day after tomorrow, next week, the following week, based on what kind of life you want to live. And that's a practice that I feel like should be taught at schools, but it's not. Teaching kids to look at their life as a whole. It's done in schools in small parts, and this is where we as parents we can take it further out, where I call it bird's eye view, where you as a hawk or as an eagle, whatever bird you relate to, you're looking at your life as a planet as a whole, as your whole experience and every part of life, every part of your existence and experiences of what you want to have within this box that's called your life. Because if we really pause and think about how will all of our life be summed up when we're no longer here in this meat suit, a lot of our life can be summed up to a box. Everything that is put into this box that defined and identified you, me, all of our friends, all of our loved ones can be put into a box. And what is it that you want to have in that box that your kids open, your grandkids open, and they can relive and understand what your life was like, where you lived in that box? And this is what I refer to as living your life and building your life with the end in mind, where you're just putting all these puzzle pieces together of what you want, what you, the true authentic you, wants to experience in this lifetime, authentically and unapologetically, where if you learned, and share with me, what would you want to experience if you learned how to not give a flying rat's ass about anybody else's opinions or thoughts about you and your family and your life? If you just didn't care at all, just one day you woke up and you just didn't care, because what you cared about the most was experiencing happiness and joy and allowing everybody else around you that you care about the most to experience happiness and joy as well. What would it be? What would you be doing? What would you be experiencing if you just didn't care anymore about what anybody else thought or said about you or your family, and you just got to be you? Feel free to answer that below. Or you can even journal about what comes up for you as well for this question. So poor decision making, your inner voice serves as an intuitive compass, guiding you towards decisions that align with your highest good. Ignoring it can lead to poor decision making and, of course, regrets. That voice knows what is best for you, what is meant to be for you, and what's not meant to be for you. And if you follow it, you will love where it brings you. And if you ignore it, you will be unhappy with where it brings you. And up until this point in your life, you probably ignored it and didn't follow it. Therefore, you're not too happy with where you currently are in your life and with your life. But the great news is that nothing is permanent. You're not stuck here. It's just the fact that now you're aware of one reason, which is your inner voice, that you are where you are in your life, It reminds you that even if you look back in your past, there have been times where you followed that inner voice and you loved your life, and there's been times where you didn't follow and you didn't love your life. And which means that you know how to do this. You know how to follow and enjoy life, or not follow yourself and not enjoy life. Now is just reminding yourself on a daily basis to follow your inner voice and choose you, because by choosing you, you're also choosing those that are closest to you, and everything will fall in alignment, and you will start to find balance within your life as well. So number 6, naturally, you're going to feel a strain on your relationships. It's inevitable. When you go from not being true and authentic, which means people don't know who you truly are, and they don't know what you want, and they themselves unconsciously would find themselves feeling a little bit uneasy. And the reason why you're not showing up as your true authentic self is for a fear that might feel real, but more often than not, it's not real. It's unrealistic fear, but it feels real. And it becomes the reality that we all live in, is that you fear that if you show up as your true authentic self, people won't love you. They won't accept you. They will leave you, and you will be left alone with no one that loves and cares for you, and loves you and cares for you. But that is not the truth. That is not the reality. That is the reality that we feel in our minds, but that is not the actual reality that we live. What ends up happening when you step into your true authentic self is everything, like I said, everything falls in alignment. You start to love your life because you get to be you. And you get to be you in this lifetime. You can't put that off until next lifetime. You get to be you in this lifetime. And chances are, you don't want to be anyone else. You just want to be you. And the best you that you can be. And only you can figure out what that is. And when you miss opportunity for growth and you feel miserable about those missed opportunities, you feel like a failure, that you should have, could have, would have. Yeah, then you're not living in your purpose, and you're not feeling fulfilled in your purpose either, which leads to stress and anxiety, and you're not making great decisions. Of course, then all of that is going to ripple. The effect of all that is going to ripple into your relationships, because with all of those first 5 that I mentioned, those indicate, each and every one of them, that you don't have a healthy relationship with yourself. The relationship that you have with yourself is a strained and stressful relationship. And the relationship that you have with yourself is going to mimic into all the relationships outside of you, and you only see who you are and what you believe you are. So if you don't love yourself, you will think and believe that others in your life don't love you. If you're not happy with yourself, you will feel like others in your life are not happy with you. If you struggle to see self-worth in yourself, you will start to feel, or even start to notice all these signs outside of you that others don't believe you're worth of something either. And your outside world will reflect your inside world. Therefore, strained relationships is what follows as you're going through this awakening journey, and you start to recognize yourself within yourself and another version of you within yourself that has been keeping you hostage within your mind. And the more that you face her and work with her and collaborate with her and understand her and at the same time remind her of those boundaries, and that's the her is the other part of you that is not allowing you to live the life that you want to, because it's trying to keep you safe and protected. The more you will get closer to your true authentic self, and the less you'll hear of that voice that keeps bringing you down. Strained relationships, by ignoring your inner voice, that may cause you to disregard your true feelings and needs in relationships, leading to resentment, leading to conflict and dissatisfaction. So if you need a day of self-care or a few hours of self-care, and you're not listening to your inner voice and you're not following it, chances are you will start to feel resentment towards other people in ways of, they should know that I need this, I shouldn't have to ask, I want them to tell me to take a break, to notice me struggle. But as true as that is, we do all want other people to know us and to know when we are feeling stressed or overwhelmed, and to allow us to have that time out. But I feel like it's even more important to speak up and say something, and to claim your space, and to claim yourself, and to express your needs, because nobody knows what's going on inside your head, what you're thinking about. Nobody knows what's going on inside your body, what you're feeling. And the only way that they'll know is by you talking about it, by you expressing it. We are not the species that communicate telepathically, even though we can. That skill has been lost in translation eons ago. So yeah. Okay, number 7, lack of self-trust. We're continuously ignoring your inner voice. Erodes your trust in yourself and erodes your trust in your own intuition, making it difficult to make confident decisions and navigate life with clarity and with purpose. By you not trusting yourself, and you continue to practice that skill, that habit, guess what happens? You will have more of that, and that ripple effect will go into your whole entire being and existence. By you not trusting yourself with one little thing and focusing on that, because what you focus on grows, that will grow. And how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you have a low self-worth and you don't trust yourself with certain thing, then eventually it will bring you to a place where you don't trust yourself with anything. Because that is the message you keep replaying in your mind. Think of it in this way. You go to, let's say you go to a store or to a mall, or sitting somewhere in a waiting room, and you listen to different kind of music, different kind of songs. And what happens after you leave that place, one of those songs that you heard, you'll catch yourself replaying it and playing it over and over and over again. And most of the time, you're not even conscious of when that's happening, which means that you're not even conscious of you choosing what song you're going to be replaying in your mind. And that's how your mind works, is that you've gone through something in your day, you had an experience, let's say you had a fight, you had an argument with someone, or something triggered you, and from that experience, your subconscious chose to focus on one thing. And it kept playing it over and over and over again, ruminating. Right? You kept ruminating about it over and over and over again. And you spent a lot of time doing that. And it's like that song that you listen to, and it stays with you for days. You wake up the next morning, you're feeling off, and you don't even remember why. Because the previous day, you were ruminating over something, you were reconditioning one of your beliefs about yourself, or your limitations, for example, where you experience something and someone told you your limitation and you start to believe it and you ruminated, and then that became your default programming before you knew it. Now, once you become conscious of how the mind and the brain works and operates, and you catch yourself ruminating over something, and instead of ruminating over it, sit down and have a discussion and understand with yourself or with the other person or persons to help you understand why you're ruminating, why that song is stuck in your head, because there's a reason why, so you can learn from that. And once you learn from it, you have your aha moment or moments, and you can move on to, now this is what I prefer instead, and move on to thinking about something much more positive or lighter and ruminate over that. And then what you focus on grows. So lack of self-trust, we mentioned that number 8 is spiritual stagnation. Ignoring your inner voice can halt, and often does halt, your spiritual progress and keep you stuck in the old patterns, in your old habits, in your old behaviors, preventing you from reaching higher levels of consciousness and preventing you from reaching that enlightenment that you want to reach, where the freedom is, where you feel free, you feel enlightened. And this is the place where you won't care what anybody thinks or says about you. And that's what freedom is. That's what all of us are after. It's also referred to as self-mastery in many different ways. And that's something that I know you don't want, and I already mentioned quite a few things throughout this, where if you're stuck in your old patterns and your old behaviors, recognize it. Don't beat yourself up for it. Choose what would you rather prefer instead, and do that. And actually do it. Don't think or say you're going to do it. Go and do it. Don't put it off. Because if you're putting it off, chances are you might not end up doing it ever again or ever. And you lose that inspired action. Because when you're feeling inspired, take the action. But if you're feeling inspired and you're not taking the action, you're also telling the universe and your inner voice, not right now. And if you keep saying, not right now, not right now, not right now, it won't come back. It'll just stay there in the corner waiting for you to call upon it. And when you call upon it, it might not even want to come, because it does not want to feel rejected again. It's like your inner voice, in a way, is kind of like a child. If your child keeps coming to you and telling you, let's do this, let's do that, let's do that, let's go play, let's have fun, let's do that, and you keep saying no, 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 not right now, not yet, and putting it off and putting it off, it's going to happen to your child. Your child is going to stop coming. And when you say, okay, let's go play, what's going to happen? Your child will hesitate. And it will hesitate because it doesn't fully trust that now you have the time, now you have the space, now that you are ready. Because you start playing, and then mommy might disappear again. Mommy will need a break again, right? So that's how your inner voice works as well. In many ways, like a child, that if you keep saying no to it, it's going to stop showing up. Because it too, in a way, is conscious enough, because it is a part of you, and you're conscious enough that I'm just not going to do that anymore, because I don't enjoy being hurt. So let's just move on and do something else, right? And do what I'm being told to do, because it's easier that way. And last one, but there's always more, which I'm not going to go through today, is loss of inner peace. As you can imagine, in the end, ignoring your inner voice will lead you to feeling lost and confused, and cause you to lose that inner peace, that inner harmony that you have, as you resist the flow, the natural flow of your life, naturally unfolding and guiding you towards your path, on your path, to your highest self, to your best self, to your best version of you. And another reason why I know I ignored my inner voice, and the women that I work with also ignored their inner voice, is because sometimes that inner voice tells them, tells me, tells us to do something that feels scary and uncomfortable, and we are just not ready to get hurt of doing whatever it is that it's asking or telling us to do. So because of that, we're less likely to try and show up for ourselves and do that thing that feels so incredibly scary. But it's only going to feel scary for a moment and for a while, and it will pass. You know the whole phrase, this too shall pass? It does. It always does. Okay, so let me take a peekaboo at some comments that I probably have gotten. Hey Rebecca, how are you doing, beautiful? Rebecca says, I've recently realized that my life has been very efforted lately, constantly pushing myself, almost no rest or no me time. My inner voice has been telling me this is not right, and I know I must simplify and redirect back to my heart song. I love how self-aware you are and how your inner voice continues to tell you what's right and what's wrong. It sometimes might not feel so clear, you know, white and black, yin and yang, but more often than not, it does come through as very clear, yes or no, right or wrong, do this or don't do this. And I'm glad that you are aware of it, and I'm hoping to hear that you're actually doing something about it and doing less and not more, and perhaps delegating and allowing an opportunity for others to help you as well. People love to help. They really do. We all love to help, and having that opportunity to help is not only going to be easier for you, but an invitation for others to help you on your life journey as well. And of course, some people are not open to it while others are. Rebecca says, I got all dressed up on Saturday and realized how I felt like myself in capital letters. I felt good, so my realization is that I need to give myself time to be me, all different parts of me. I love that. I love that you took the time to get dressed up and felt like yourself and realized that you want more of that. That it was so awesome, so great that you want more and more and more of that. Going to a Catholic school, it is doing all the things to earn a sacrament and living not a sin, so we can ultimately go to heaven. Yeah, with different religions, there's different belief systems. There's, I want to say, one of the things that I notice in religions, this is where spirituality is different from religions, is that there are limitations, and not just limitations, but conditions that are being put on. In order for you to be accepted, you must do this, and if you don't do this, you're going to be banished. And of course, even within those, there's good and the bad, right? Because without any limitations, the world will run rampant. That's why limitations are there. That's why it's good to have them and to have structure and to help people, humans, to be and become a better human. But at the same time, I feel like each one needs to be expanded, and where people can get the necessary help in understanding what that means to them, what that means, looks like, and sounds like, and how that can fit into their life without that feeling of loss of self, losing yourself in that process, and to it's good to give. It is great to help others that are in need of help, but also knowing when to draw the line, where to say enough is enough, or take a break, or say, no, I'm not doing that, right? To say no when you want to say no, and say yes when you want to say yes, and not say yes when you really want to say no, and vice versa, right? So everything within reason. And Rebecca says, when I got to a point where I didn't care if I was left alone, that's when I was free to be me. This resulted in me realizing that there are people who belonged in my life and like the authentic me. Perfect example. That when you accept yourself, when you love yourself, those that no longer belong in your life, they'll disappear and they'll go somewhere else, and that is okay. Because it opens up that space for others who are waiting for you to be part of their life, and you're waiting for them to be part of your life. Rebecca says, I am worthy. Yes, you are. When I was a teen, I used to wake up and decide what song I would play in my head all day. I considered myself like a jukebox. That's actually a superpower, where we wake up in the morning and you think of the song that you want to play in your jukebox over and over and over again. Now you can do even songs themselves. Many of them are like affirmations. They are allowing you to become the best version of yourself. So if there are songs like that, listen to them, or physically listen to them, or play them in your jukebox, or just positive affirmations or confirmations of who you actually are. And Rebecca says, it worked. I still do that, except I have earbuds and play in Pandora. Balance. Yeah, everything is about balance. And sometimes, like you said, having earbuds and listening to it is exactly what you need. And other times you can just play it yourself. When I was going through the darkest part of my life, Bob Marley was this everyday song of choice. Every single day, starting with Don't Worry, Be Happy. That would be the one I would play, either physically and listen to it, or in my head, just sing it in my head. I don't know all the lyrics, but just the chorus of Don't Worry, Be Happy. Everything is going to be all right. It's a reminder that no matter what happens in our life, we might feel like this is the end, but it is not. Mostly when we feel like it's the end, it is actually the beginning of something big, amazing, powerful that we didn't even know was possible for us. Rebecca says, as a teen, I was able to control my dreams. I was even able to decide what I wanted to dream about. Lucid dreaming. Yeah, I can totally relate to this one. And for me, it was before I became a teen, actually. And I know, for me, I know the reason why I stopped. And it was just moving from one country to another. And through that stressful process, I was shook, right? And my life was disrupted, as anyone that moves from one country to another. It's a stressful process where, even just as a teen, not having anything of mine to bring, leaving everything behind, and everyone you love and care about behind, except your parents and your siblings, your pets, your friends, your other family, leaving them all behind. It was a lot. So because of that, I stopped lucid dreaming. But it is something that we can all tap back into, where lucid dreaming, essentially, that's what Rebecca, you're saying, is deciding what you're dreaming about, having a choice about the dream, and also recognizing that this is a dream. Becoming awake and aware in the dream that you are dreaming, and that you're in full control and you're in charge, and that it's your dream and you can go however you want. It's like a movie, that you get to produce and also play a role in that movie. And all of us actually are able to do that. And recently I haven't been able to decide on what I'm going to be dreaming about, but I become aware and conscious within my dream that I am dreaming, and that this is just a dream, or this is a dream, and being part of that dream and guiding it a little bit. But it's like a skill. The more you practice it, the stronger and better you become at it. And I haven't been practicing it consciously, even though I know what to do consciously to be in control of my dreams and lucid dream. It hasn't been at the forefront of what I wanted to do. So I kind of let it naturally take its course whenever it does. And then Rebecca says, I just bought a new Bob Marley shirt yesterday. Ooh, what a synchronicity. Maybe listening to his songs now. And he has a great documentary on Netflix as well. I watched it, I think, twice at this point. Really, really great one to watch. And Rebecca says, I very rarely dream at this point. Interestingly, and as to why. I know there was a part of my life where I wasn't dreaming much because I was numbing myself a lot. In many ways, I didn't want to show up. I didn't want to do anything. I wasn't enjoying life, and I was numbing myself through cannabis. Trying to think of the proper word for it. I was numbing myself through cannabis and just not wanting to do anything and just escaping as much as I could. And it just numbed my mind. It numbed my mind where I could not dream. But having been clean of it for I don't know how many months at this point, honestly, I'm just not keeping track because I don't, I'm over it is the best way to describe it, where I got what I needed to get from it, because it is a teacher. It's a plant that teaches us to see our deepest, darkest selves. It brings out the shadows, and I saw them all. I learned from them all, and I no longer need it, and I don't want to numb myself. I'm high on life. Right? And I wouldn't trade it for the world, where I get to really feel and experience life, because I needed to understand the true power of feelings and emotions and not judge them, but be grateful and happy for each and every feeling and emotion, because I only get to experience them in this lifetime. And that's one of the things I simply do not want to regret at the end of my life, having numbed myself and not felt to the truest and purest depth of every feeling and every emotion, because it is a gift to be able to feel so deeply and so powerfully that I cannot experience in any other lifetime, only in this one. And it's like going on vacation, because life is a vacation whether we want to or not, right? I in my belief system that hell or heaven only exists in this lifetime, and it is self-created. Whether we believe we're in hell when we're feeling a lot of misery and there's no happiness, no joy, that's a hell. And I've been there, done that, and I am now living in heaven, so to speak, where I understand each feeling and each emotion and each experience, no matter how bad it is, that there's beauty in it all. And each and every emotion and feeling and experience, there's beauty, and beauty comes of all things. From everything that we experience, good things come from it, beauty comes from it. Some, granted, we're all going to experience some dark parts of our life, but we're meant to, so that way we can appreciate even those darkest parts of our life and see beauty in that cocoon that we were in when we believed that this was the end. As the caterpillar believes it's the end, the butterfly knows it's the beginning. So we each have gone through, and sometimes might still find ourselves in that cocoon state where we believe this is the end, this is it, this is how I go, to then come out and emerge a beautiful butterfly, knowing that it's the beginning. What I went through was what actually gave me those wings to fly freely and enjoy life. So I believe that was it from the comments. Rebecca says, oh, maybe that's why I don't dream. It's very possible. People that also drink a lot, we all have a choice of our escapes. For me, my escape is music now, or doing outdoors, or getting busy, getting things done. I have different types of escapes that are without any substances. Those people that don't drink, those people that drink, they don't dream. Any other drugs or escapes, also they usually don't dream. Because the mind goes through a lot and it just numbs the soul and the spirit, and when it's numb, it's not connecting to the dream world. Rebecca says, hashtag goals. I want to get there. You guys give me hope. I'm glad to hear that, and you will get there, and you got it, right? When we really want something, we will get it. But in order for us to really let go of something, we need to learn everything it's teaching us, right? So for me, once I learned everything I needed to learn from the teacher called Cannabis, I was good. I learned everything I need to, and I did not need to go to those lessons anymore, to that training that it was providing for me. And it's really this phrase that comes to mind: when is enough, only you will know. And it's like a switch that goes off, where you will get to a point in your life where enough will be enough, and you will no longer want to numb yourself. You will no longer want to escape from your life, because you will recognize the value and the worth of your life in and for what it is, without any escapes, right? Another escape for me is Netflix. But let's be honest, all of us use Netflix or Disney Plus or whatever shows that you watch or movies that you watch. That is an escape as well. So there are healthier escapes, but they're still in the way escapes. And my next thing is watching a lot less Netflix. And actually, I don't watch as much as I used to, but I still watch it. But I do watch things that I find educational, and I learn quite a bit from those shows as well. It's like, by watching a movie, I get to live a life through that movie. Watching a show, I get to live a life through that show. You read a book, same thing, right? It's like reading a book but on the screen. So anyways, and then Rebecca says, I don't drink much at all. Yeah, neither do I. At one point, I found myself going down that path of drinking a lot, and I stopped. And with cannabis, that's one of those things that I didn't really see, because I was dealing with a lot internally, and I needed an escape, and it helped, and it worked, and until it didn't anymore, which means that I've had enough. Enough was enough, and I was good, and that's it. So, and I'm sharing all this with you to let you know and show you what's possible, even though it felt impossible. I thought I would never be able to stop smoking because it was just, I needed it, and I couldn't live without, I couldn't survive. And I tested myself a few times where I stopped and I quit, and then it was always that voice in the back of my head that called me to it. And the only way to get rid of that voice is to become aware of it and to understand it and to play a different tune. So that voice has not been there. I stopped October 15th of last year, and since the day that I stopped, that voice has not been there. Only showed up once, but it was so quiet that I just changed what I was saying to me and said no thank you, and it went away, and I haven't heard it since. And it only came like in the first couple of weeks, and since then it has not been here. So yeah, it's like the devil, right? Anyways, other than that, this is long enough of a video for you all of story time with myself, Yana Kasperczak, that I do on Tuesdays live on my personal profile on Facebook at 11:45-ish. And today I did come on later as our Sacred Circle ran longer because we all needed it. It's been an eventful week since last week, so we all needed it. But other than that, until we see each other next Tuesday at 11:45-ish a.m. Eastern Time for another story time with myself, or perhaps I'll see you tomorrow live on the podcast with Bethany and I called Heal the Unicorn, in our Facebook group called Heal the Unicorn, Emotional Healing and Spiritual Growth for Women. So if you're not part of that fast-growing community, come and join and check it out, and tune in live into our podcast, Heal the Unicorn, where we have amazing topics to help you heal emotionally and grow spiritually and help you find the balance in your life or business career, and essentially get your shit together in all areas of your life sooner rather than later. Don't put that off. The more you put it off, the harder it becomes. So that is all. Thank you everybody thank you Rebecca for being on here with me, and thank you everybody who's watching on the replay, and those of you who are or were silent watching, because I saw there was a couple of other people watching or at least listening. And until we see each other next time, she takes off and it's my time to take off as well. Thank you everybody, and we'll see each other next time we're live. And until then,